Okay, sir. Now I warm welcome to Dr. Mahesh Bundele, sir. He is the principal and director of Purnima College of Engineering. He has many research paper and international and national conference, and also the member of many जो IEEE Delhi section post secretary, IEEE Rajasthan substation, and member of STD DOM and other many national or international levels generals. Now I again welcome to Dr. Mahesh Bundele sir for a session.
Okay.
Okay,
Good
thank you,
morning.
sir.
Yeah. Good morning, one and all. I think participants are having the facility of interacting
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
through
I allow the
directly.
mic. I
Okay.
allow mic, sir.
Okay. Okay. So I think it is not a full slide na, right now.
Yes, name is now working, sir. Only.
I am not able to see on my screen. It is showing on the side also.
My screen is visible, sir. So.
It is full.
Yes, sir. Full.
Full screen. Okay.
Yes.
So good morning, participants. First of all, I would like to thank GEC, Dr. Ravindra, Dr. Vilpal for inviting me to deliver this particular talk in their event on IoT, especially. I have purposefully selected this particular topic.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yes, sir, audible.
So you have gone through wearable computing some point of time.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it's very obvious these days. Wearable computing is very much known to everybody. Although in India it has started very late, but wearable computing is now the hands of everybody, the reach of everybody. Everybody is having some sound is there, noise.
Okay, sir. Now I mute my camera and
Okay.
off my camera and mute my mic.
Okay. So participants, please mute your audio and mics.
Okay, sir. I mute for
So,
all of participants.
okay. So wearable computing is become very much known to everybody, even the layman who is not engineering professional or non-engineering professionals, or you can say illiterate people. They are also using the wearable computing concept. They may not be knowing the term wearable computing. Most of the people when I may feel that it is new. Wearable means only it has to be worn on body, and if something is there in the body, then says everybody is keeping my mobile phone in pockets, use in hands, using the mobiles, using so many other gadgets. Even heart patients using the gadgets for their monitoring, and they are not knowing that it's wearable computing. So wearable computing has, I'll talk other terminologies also which are relevant, and it falls in the domain. Some noise is there. Hello.
Hello, sir. Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, disable to all of mics. Candidate, please.
Okay. It happens normally. This is the drawback of, you can say, or rather, I would say, the wearable computing advancements need to be done further, so that automatically when somebody is speaking, the mic is switched on, and staff's mic is switched off, muted automatically. So these features will come under this wearable and pervasive computing uh, requirements. So still these are the problems. We are now used to this online system, online platforms, and online events since last 2 years or about 2 years. We have been facing these problems of having not having any physical contact, but having the contact globally on our computer, on our mobile, on our laptop, and iPads, and so on. So, but we are able to survive. We are able to do much better than the earlier one, and that's why technology comes in, and that's why everybody has now felt that it is necessary to adapt these new technologies. And likewise, the advancements in computing, particularly in computer engineering, computing particularly, is happening in such a way that all the gadgets, all the appliances, all the objects surrounding you are being thought as a computer node. That is, so wearable computing, its applications, and one case study I will just let you know, so that you can understand how can you proceed for any research, or you can guide research for your to your students in this particular area. What are the opportunities? So let's move ahead. Yeah, is it visible to everybody? It's changed. Slide has changed. Somebody will respond to me. Hello? Or if the slide doesn't change, please let me know. So the wearable computing, as the word wearable indicates that it has to be worn on body, or the computer, a computing element or computing node or a computing component is worn on the body. So by definition, wearable computing, if I say computing is a phenomena or the process. So wearable computing is the study or practice of inventing, designing, building, or using miniature body-borne computational and sensory devices. So ultimately, in simple way, I would say that wearable computing means the
सर इंटरप्ट यू सर स्लाइड जो है चेंज नहीं हो रही सर
हाँ इसीलिए तो पूछ रहा था मैं
नहीं स्लाइड चेंज
हाँ एक मिनट लेट मी सी समथिंग हैज is with slide show. Now it's slide show. That's what I was asking you, that it is full screen. I am able to see full screen, so you will see that it is changed.
Yeah, good.
Good. So the wearable computing is the study or practice of inventing, designing, building, or using miniature body-borne computational and sensory devices. So ultimately, some computing element these days, even our watch has computing element. Our most of the ornaments we purchase, they are having computing element. Our mobile is having computing element since long ago, but we are not feeling that there is a computer. We are using the facilities, we are getting the smart features, we are getting the smart applications, smart apps, we are using them, but we are unaware of the fact that it is a wearable computer. Most of the even we are able to have the shoes are available, laptops already known to everybody, your TV remote or your phone, cordless phone, or whatever it may be. Either it has to be worn on the body or it has to be used by the human. So it comes under wearable computing. Now wearable computing means it has a computer which is worn by the body or being used by the body or by the human being. So that way, I have just added some history of wearable computer just to have its origin, because we feel that wearable computing has come recently and now everybody is working on wearable computer, wearable device. So we are also doing research in that direction, but it's not a fact. The European countries, the countries, they work uh, very advanced in time, and even in 15 centuries, some kind of devices which were wearable, um, uh, and it can be called as a wearable computer like that. So in 1571, Queen Elizabeth of England received this watch by Robert Dudley, and it was like a very small. So she wore as a ring. It was having the facility of only alarm. So watch with alarm. This was the facility. In 16th century, it was Qing dynasty saw the introduction of fully functional abacus. So abacus on a ring. So you can imagine that in 16th century, abacus, I think everybody knows about abacus. So abacus was there on the ring, which can be worn in the finger. In 1960s onwards, it has taken a different shape. Awareness has increased. The facilities of designing the processor, the memory, and the components, other components which can be used for this kind of experimentation and miniaturization particularly. So it has started, and the mathematician Edward O. Thorpe and Claude Shannon built some computerized timing device to help them win at a game of roulette. So, and one such timer was concealed in shoe. The figure is shown on the right side. It is showing that shoe is having a big, as far as the size of the shoe and the computer is concerned. So it is put inside the shoes, and it can be worn. And it is a wearable computer which was invented in 1961. There were so many in 1970s: pocket calculator, programmable calculators, then calculator, watch, camera, camera where came in. Then 1981, Steve Mann also designed, built and backpack mounted along with the computing facility. Then Mann, this 1994, wearable wireless webcam has come, like that. And in 1989, reflection technology marketed this private eye head-mounted display. Something new had come in 1980s, you can say. And after that, I have not written because everybody started working on, all the industries started working on different kinds of smart features in all the gadgets, particularly your mobile, laptop, iPad, watch, and some other devices also would come like that, head-mounted devices, head-mounted display, or displays you can say. So after that long gap, I have written that on 24th April 2015, Apple launched the first watch, smartwatch. And so on, the large number of universities, researchers, and industries who are working since last, you can say, more than 100 years. Because universities, good universities are the best universities of the world. They start thinking in advance, you can say 50 years advance, 100 years advance, what would be future. And it is slowly percolated across the world. Those who are interested are come in are more of innovative nature. And that is the right perspective, that you have to think of 50 years, 100 years ahead, what would be in future, and you can reach somewhere. So the way it is being thought of, the way it has been thought of, that yes, there can be computing elements there in every object. There can be smart facilities. Only the requirement, what are the requirements to do that with the available resources, that you have to go on experimenting, and you have to reduce, or you can say make appropriations and manipulations through research in your all the resources whatever is available to you. and further go ahead and you will reach here where we are today. We are having lots of wearable computers or rather wearable gadgets, but we are not aware of that. Researchers are, there is a big gap, particularly between academicians and the industries. Industries go fast because they have to sell their products, they have to be in the market, and they think of long ahead. So and the academicians go slow. Academicians see what is there and then they start working on that. They generally, very few academicians are good universities, as I told you. They think in that direction and they start working for long 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years projects. So that way, what I mean to say here is that the academic also, or the faculty members also, or the teachers particularly, need to have a long vision that where would be the technology after 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, and then start working in that direction. Then you, within your lifetime or your survival time or your service time, you will be able to deliver a good outcome to the society. So pervasive computing I have added here because these are correlated. Wearable computing, you can say, is the branch of pervasive computing or ubiquitous computing. Pervasive computing, all of you have heard about pervasive computing, pervasive and ubiquitous computing. Anybody can say yes or no? Is it? So actually, this is very in India. We are not so quick and reactive, or you can say more of hesitation and the kind of that inactiveness is there. Don't take it otherwise, but we have to be prompt, we have to be attentive, we have to be, and this shows that yes, participants are attentive, whosoever is listening is attentive, and yes, reacting to, so that gives, that reduces the physical gap between you people and me. All are located at different places, maybe some other parts of the country, and in Jaipur, most of them. So pervasive computing, pervasive means omnipresent. Pervasive and ubiquitous means omnipresent. Pervasive computing, it is also called as ubiquitous computing, and it is growing trend of embedding computational capability. So embedding computational capability means embedding computer into everyday objects. Everyday objects, whatever objects we use or whatever objects are surrounding you, even including environment or the air, you must say, or whatever exists in the environment surrounding to you, all those comes under objects. So whatever, if you have a table, if you have a paperweight, if you have a, you can say tiffin, if you have a whatever tie you are wearing, shirt you are wearing, coat you are wearing, you have a trouser, you have a blazer, then shoes, everything, watch, spec, hat. Now I have worn it because of some reason. So you have hat, sometimes you are wearing, or cap you are wearing. Whatever you use around you, all those comes under objects. So embedding computational capability into any object surrounding you comes under pervasive computing. To make them effectively communicate, they should be able to communicate among themselves, and they should be able to communicate with the environment and with the users also, and perform useful tasks in a way that minimizes the end users need to interact with computers as computers. So without reacting to my watch and smart watch, if I am wearing, if I am able to get an alarm and I am able to get there my BP displayed. So without pressing anything, without clicking anything, if I am able to get that information, that is nothing but the pervasive computing application. So pervasive computing and ubiquitous computing both are same, both are omnipresent kind of computing, except one difference. Pervasive computing, the user is may be aware of or may not be aware of computing or that element or the sensor or the information being passed or the information being sensed. So in pervasive computing, the user may be aware of and may not be aware of, but in ubiquitous computing, user is aware of the information, user is aware of the sensor, user is aware of the facts and what is being done. Or that these many sensors are working around me, and these are the informations to be collected, and this is to be processed, and this is being processed, or this is will the output or the kind of action to be taken or being taken. That is the ubiquitous computing. If if I am moving on the road and there are computing elements embedded on the roadside or on the trees or on the street lights or on the buildings, those are collecting my information. I am not knowing that. So if I am not knowing that environment, then it comes under pervasive computing. So pervasive computing includes both aware and non-aware computing, but ubiquitous specially includes the discussion or the concepts about only the concepts which are the computing which is known to the user. So this is the main difference between the two. Yes. So can wearable computing be called as a human-computer interaction? Can somebody tell me? Yes or no? Human-computer interaction? There is no active participation from the audience. It has to be. Okay. Let me. So yes, it is human-computer interaction, whether known or unknown. I may have some activity, maybe doing some activity or performing some activity, some computing element or sensors are there which are observing me, which are collecting my information, which are processing that information, which are sending some alert or some that information to some other location that is being processed, and it is all automatic. But as if I'm not knowing I am interacting with the computer, but the computer is interacting with me. If the computer is watching my activity, measuring some parameters, some signals, processing them, and giving some feedback to me or some kind of action for me without knowing to me. So it's again human-computer interaction. So, or you can say wearable computing is the human and computer interaction. But if I talk about the pervasive computing, it is ultimately the object computing or object human computing, or you can say any or IoT concept, Internet of Things. So ultimately everything is same. You are this FDP the event is about IoT. So IoT is a new concept which has come now. We'll talk about that. So there is this wearable computing is nothing but most of its human computer interaction. Sometimes it is not human computer interaction because it is the sensors and computing elements are doing something without my knowledge, without sensing my information and giving some information to me. That is also a variable computing part. It if I talk about some generalized architecture of variable device, what component should be there? So there should be some sensing unit along with the sensors. Now there are n number of sensors or new sensors need to be designed. Each component has a lot of scope to do some work. Sensing unit doesn't mean only the sensor. It will have a sensor, it will have an amplifier, it will have the processor of its own, it will have a then its feature extraction and processing unit and all that, whatever kind of. So or it can have multiple, the number of multiple sensors can be used, different kinds of sensors can be used as the information collected from the environment or from the human being or from or both other way. So a sensing unit is there. Then this sensing unit passes the information to processed information or the raw information to some kind of processor, which can be called a elaboration unit. So processor need not be a microcontroller, it can be Arduino, it can be a your any other, while because you while is experimenting you have to use some components which are available to you. It may be a laptop, it may be a computer, it may be, so you, if you are building your own software or app to collect the information from the sensors, it can be you need not go for microcontroller. So your PC or your laptop or your iPad or mobile is directly collecting the information from those sensors, and your computer inside the mobile or inside the iPad or laptop, that is working for that, processing that through app. So there has to be some processing element. The information is processed and it is transmitted through some communication media or transmission unit. So the transmission unit which transmits this processed information or decision to be transmitted. If the processor is taking some decision, some kind of action, that has to be transmitted to some other place or some other part of your wearing or wearable or your body. So wherever it has to go through Bluetooth module. So transmission unit consists of mainly Bluetooth module. Then next component is storage unit. It must have some storage because whatever information is being collected and is being processed and being transmitted also, it has to be stored somewhere. It has, while processing, the storage is less or more, or what is the capacity, how much it can store, it differs. So storage unit. And the next one is very important, power management unit. So you need to have a battery, you need to have a battery management system, how it has to be charged, how it has to discharge, how it the power has to be maintained, all those things. So even if you see, every component also consists of processors, not that they are bare components or they are bare systems. So they have their own processing elements. They must have, rather, then only you can have more capability, more features, more better design of wearable device. So the sensing unit, elaboration unit, or processing unit, transmission unit, storage unit, and power management unit. These are the main 5 components of any wearable device. If you go in depth of that, then there will be multiple things coming out, and even the processor, single processor, which processor, whether you are using Arduino, whether you are using ARM, whether you are using Intel processor or AMD processor, it depends. What kind of system you are going to design, what kind of variable you are going to design, what is the scope of keeping it. Ultimately, you have to first develop a concept. Then you have to simulate it, you have to taste it, you have to prototype it, you have to then, before going for the actual implementation or the preparation of gadget, there is lot of exercise required, designing and redesigning the circuits and the components, miniaturizing the things, and all those things are required, and then it comes in the form of final like your mobile or your smartwatch or your smart ornament or your anything, whatever we talk about, we'll see there are so many things to be discussed. So architecture of wearable device. I have also included Internet of Things because IoT is a new concept, and accordingly some new gadgets, some new components have been made available by the industries for the researchers, for the scholars, and for the students to do something which they target for, and how the concepts can advance further in this direction so that the final aims can be achieved. So everybody can use these components. So Internet of Things, how can you connect the things together? How can you connect objects together? How can you collect the information from different objects? Not only the human being, but it can be a non-living or any other living other than human being. You can collect the information, you can process the information, you can communicate with the object, you can take the decisions, you can take the actions, you can involve human being also. So Internet of Things means Internet of anything. So IoT is very much useful for the concept of IoT is very much useful for designing your wearable system also. Applications. I have written very few applications, although there are now large number of applications these days. If you see the wearable computing devices, the universities working since so many years, what they have developed, even they have the large number of devices they have developed in their laboratories, and finally they have been patented, or they have been you can say sold to some industry, and then the manufacturing starts. So augmented reality is one area of application. Then adding visually disabled, you can have some facilities created for some visually disabled. You can have facilities created for other specially disabled people or autistic people, or any kind of assistance you can provide with the help of wearable devices. Brain get interface, you can have then data processing applications you can develop using wearable computing. You can have medical applications, particularly healthcare applications, health monitoring applications, health maintenance or management applications. Not because app it doesn't work through only the application, the website, or you can or apps. It has to be have inputs and outputs and the processing units, and therefore wearable computing plays a vital role. Digital imaging, remote guidance, or and so on. So if you see in the figure also, as far as some devices are shown here, that like glasses or specs, then headset or earphone, or your mouth guard, or it can be armband, or it can be your clothing, it can be strip, some band, you are using belt, you are using shoes, or you are wearing ring or watch or anything. So there are so many wearings we use in our daily life, and all those wearings can be converted into a wearable computer or wearable device, and accordingly we have to think of which particular wearing, what kind of sensors, what kind of facilities we can create through these innovations, or rather most of the devices are available, you can use those devices, you can use those device sensors as the sensory elements, and then you can develop some new concept, a new you can say wearable computer. So some select wearable devices, again I have shown here in the similar way. Some few new things are there. You can say some Bluetooth key tracker are there these days. Even your wallet trackers are there. Just one chip is inserted your wallet, and your wallet is able to be tracked. Then t-shirts, smart t-shirts are available. You can have smart fingers, smart finger rings, smart belts, smart pants, smart socks. So anything you can think of, whatever you wear or others wear, or maybe male and female, anybody, so you can convert them into wearable device. What is required is that we'll see at last, that what are the research opportunities, in what way you can proceed, that will be discussed in detail. So future of wearable computing, what kind of wearable computing devices would be there? Already you might have seen also that these days we are able to check our clothes. How would I look like when I purchase this? So I am able to select a blazer, and on my photo I am able to see that how I am looking, how I will be looking. So without actually wearing, without actually going to the shop, I am able to see in what way I will look like. Or if I see that this is the present scenario, I want to make changes in that. I cannot do it physically, but I want to see, I want to visualize, I want to check, I want to test those things. So although it comes under augmented reality, so you can superimpose the visuals in the existing, and you can experiment with that. So this will be the future. In future, the devices will be so tiny, or you can say so flexible. Now these days, even flexible, this TVs has come as a in the kind of your rolling strips, or your you can say the whiteboards which are rolled. So, they have become so thin and so flexible. Material is being used, a transparent material they are being used, having the semiconductor inside, the flexible semiconductors using in that. You are able to get that. Even but the sensitivity, the touchability, the touchness, smartness, everything. The processors are embedded in the transparent material, and you are not able to see that. So this kind of technologies are coming up, and you will be able to means uh, of course, those of you are young, I think after 20, 30, 40 years, this kind of atmosphere where every thing is being embedded with the computer or computing element, it is not visible also, but it is being processed, it is being used for some or the other purpose at all the points of your environment. So augmented reality, the definition I already did here, is an interactive experience of real world environment where the objects that reside in the real world are enhanced by computer generated perceptual information, sometimes across multiple sensory modalities, including visual, auditory, haptic, somatosensory, or olfactory. So any kind of experimentation or simulation you can do with the existing scenario, and embed in that what you want to do. So that is augmented reality. and augmented reality will take a different shape. Like here in the figure it is shown that in mobile that image is being captured, and in that image you can see if you make this change, how will it look like. So you will embed something else in that. So this is very much important. This kind of softwares have come up for designing different systems, even automated car design, automated process design, automated machine design. These kinds of concepts are very much useful, where you can see that what is happening and what will happen if you make this kind of change. Then pervasive and ubiquitous environment would be there in future. What I was talking about. So smart city and smart nation, everything. So maybe if we perfectly have a growth rate, and after some 50 or 60 or 70 or 100 years, we have this kind of environment created. We are talking about smart cities. So we are adding some smart facilities, not smart in full. But smart, ideally smart means we everything, you can find anything, anywhere, any point of time. Those things are being added to our life. So we are able to get anything at any point of, even if we are blocked in lockdown, we were able to purchase the things. We were able to find out the doctors. We were able to take the advice. We were able to get the solutions. We were able. So all this is possible because we have computing facilities across. Only things is that we have to now insert in between some computing elements, some sensor elements in the environment, in the objects around us, in the appliances around us. And those, that means everything has to be intelligent, everything has to be processing, everything has to be means live. Although we say it is non-living, sofa is non-living, but it has to make live by embedding some computing element into that, that is sensing something, some information, and either maybe related to its life, maybe related to early detection of its failure, or some kind of whatever kind of problem you target for, that can be done. So if you have some computing elements, if you decide the objective, if you decide the problem, then you will be able to get that problem solved by using some computing element, some sensors, some kind of arrangements, using some concepts like IoT. So the challenges of wearable computing, latest what are in means currently, what are the challenges? Earlier there were so many challenges. Now the challenges have the kind of challenges are changing. So power management is a big issue, because we are miniaturizing the things, we are minimizing the size and the power requirement also, but at the same time we want means long life of batteries particularly. So that is a big issue, big challenge. Because if you want to embed the sensors, if you want to embed the computing elements into the non-living objects, you cannot put electricity everywhere. They have to have a long life of 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever kind of life you expect from that particular provision or arrangement to be made for. So maybe that initially you will be, right now we are having some life of some sensors like 1 year, or you can say 6 months, even 1 month, if you don't charge that, or it can be a solar charged, or that kind of other environmental energy can be used for. So that is the provision to be made to meet the power requirement, to see that how much is the storage, how it has to be utilized. So smart power management. So power management itself is a problem, big problem. Large number of issues are there, large number of options are there to work upon. So power management in wearable computing is a big challenge. Then technological dependence, yes, because unless there is a technology, unless there is a concept, you cannot develop any wearable computing. Only you can test, but it will not come into market, it will not be coming to the people, or it will not be used for survival. So it will not be, means your research or your work will not be worth. Maybe it will be worth after 20 years, 50 years, or 100 years, like that. So ideas, but there has to be some ideas, and slowly you have to go ahead. So technological dependence is there. Software architecture is again a challenge. If you are having computing element in each object around you, around in the city, along the roads, along the street lights, in the trees, in the gardens, in the plants, everywhere, if you want that kind of arrangement to make it pervasive or ubiquitous computing environment, in that case, the software architecture design is very big issue. Are multiple sensors, multiple objects, multiple applications, multiple running together, collecting information, sending to remote locations, and processing further and taking actions of different kinds. So it is making software architecture very complex. So complexity, I mean to say, complexity of the software architecture or its programming requirements is there, again a challenge. So the challenge has to be solved step by step, and as you move ahead, there will be some ease and more complexness, more easiness, more complexness, more that way the problems are being to be solved. Then another is the personal, for a particular wearable computing, personal area network PAN limitations, the limitations which are imposed due to the current standards and the protocols and the facilities available, technologies available for PAN. So then security is a very big challenge. Because of security only, most of the people are not using, or because of cyber attacks these days, even if it is not a pervasive computing, only mobiles are being used by the people, and everything is connected through mobile. Your banks, your bank accounts, your data, your research work, everything, the emails, Facebook, social sites, all connected together, and that is giving so many problems about the security. Your business, your accounts, everything, everything is connected together at one platform, and that is giving security issue. So when you will have a variable computing element and embedded, or the computing element embedded around you in all the objects, so what kind of security arrangements will be required? What kind of security is a very big issue, and it has, if it is taken as a challenge, you can even work for next 20, 30, 40, 50 years to solve that problem. Not that only the blockchain technology can solve all problems. So you have to think in this direction. What are the current issues? Application design. So application design is again a challenging issue. So these are the challenges of variable computing. Then other aspect is variability aspect also. You have to see that that is the requirement, of course, for variable computing, that what are the requirements to be worn on body, or what are for specific application requirement, and in what way you can reduce that, or you can make it appropriate. That is another challenge. So these are listed challenges. Power management, technological dependence created by augmented reality and automatic processing, because augmented reality needs, because it's virtual and then it has to be implemented real. That is a challenge. Then advances in software architecture to make up for challenges of navigating on such small scale interfaces, management of wireless and personal area networks, then software sufficient security from hackers with potential to control data stored on device, if not device itself while in use. So it can security can be uh, broken by anybody anytime, and you have to see that whatever information is going out from whatever device or whatever sensor, the kind of security provisions made is not breakable. That kind of technology, that kind of concept need to come so that the security issue is um, uh, considered, and if we are able to do that, that will be a very good problem to work upon. Now, what are the research opportunities? What you have to do? You have to have some innovation or innovative application design. For that, you have to identify the problem. Now, if I talk about research, research is not that you are doing some project. Most of the people, most of the students, particularly undergrad students, they are doing like this only. They are um, collecting IoT components like Arduino, then sensors, then directly building the experimental setup and collecting the data and processing and giving showing the output. But it is not a research. It can be a project. If you want to convert it to research work, then you have to follow a research process. So you have to identify the problem. Even if you have idea in your mind, if you have vision in your thought that I have to reach through this project, I have to reach here, and for that you have to plan. But precise thinking or critical thinking is very much necessary in research process. So what hurdles will be there in your path? What kind of utilities you are targeting? What kind of features you are targeting? What kind of provisions you are targeting? And what kind of resources are available? What kind of um, uh, challenges available? All those things you have to think of, and what is the existing data on that is available. And existing data available means it is a literature review. So in research, literature review is very important. So what is the latest data, or what is the latest advancement in concepts by the people is available on the standard databases like IEEE, ACM, LJVR, or Science Data, or other standard databases, Scopus. Minimum, you can say the benchmark we put is Scopus. Other than Scopus should not be allowed in research process. It can be allowed for understanding, it can be allowed for conceptualization, but it cannot be involved in research process. So for innovative application design, you have to identify problem. So you have to have innovative thinking process. You have to have critical thinking process. You have to read lot of information about the idea you are trying to target for. So you have to do a good literature survey, identify problem, identify the kind of inputs to the system you are targeting are available or can be collected. So what kind of sensors are available, what kind of sensors, whether you have to build your own sensor for collecting that kind of information. Now we are going for only image processing, video processing, image processing, but that is it is useful, but that is taking lot of memory, lot of computing resource. We have to think of other possible sensors, or which can be detected, which can be sensor can be sensor design and development of new sensor itself is a research. So that kind of thought process is required for doing a research in any area. So signal processing and AI deep learning solutions, you have to, how will you process those necessary signals? How will you, in what way it will be processed that your AI deep learning solution is giving, becoming suitable and appropriate for your outcome, research outcome. So this is important. These are the areas you can say you have to concentrate upon. Then how can you use IoT appropriately for application design? Of course, IoT has made it very easy to build any application and have experimentation, have a test setup created. So that is maybe used for doing a good research. So you can, because the information, the things which you are doing, you were simulating through some kind of platforms like MATLAB, you are able to uh, do it in real time also. And real time data you are able to collect, you are able to process, you are able to see what is happening, and then the conceptualization can be done. So thorough experimentation is necessary in this area. Whatever kind of research you take, you have to design prototype. Prototype means the kind of components you will be using in the final product. The similar kind of components you have to use, maybe bigger in size, maybe having more power consumption, maybe having a different shape, maybe having different functionalities. But some limited facilities which meets your requirement can be used so that can be called as a prototype. And then you have to go for towards real product, how it will look like and design and its everything. So miniaturization is another research opportunity. How will you miniaturize? Not non-technological aspect I am talking about. If we talk about technological, then it has to go in VLSI and all that, those technologies, or designing sensors, embedding sensors, whether you want to go for hardware only, whether you want to go for software only, whether you want to go for hard and soft both, whether you want to have embedded system, whether you want to have kind of, so all those things can be thought of, and proper appropriation can be done to meet the requirements. Then efficiency and precision are also the because whatever you have, you have the blood pulse meter with you, but sometimes you feel that is it not correctly working. So your doctor advise that you take some 3 to 5 readings and then take its average, because ultimately it is electronic, so we don't have trust. So to make it trustable, to make it more precise, we have to improve its efficiency and precision. And how it can be done? It can be done through research. What are the problems in that? What are the problems in the that particular belt which we wear in an arm to measure the blood pulse? How those can be removed so that the efficiency and precision of that blood pulse meter is improved. So that this is way how you can think of the power minimization. I have already talked about security issues. I have already talked about security is a big issue, whether it's hardware. Now there are security, your hardware devices are big, they are in terms of computer engineer, we know firewall is there as a security device, but now there are electronic components, devices, ICs are also coming, which are looking for security, and those can be used in your gadgets, or will be used in gadgets in future. But only you have to see the whether it is providing the appropriate security or not. So security is a big issue, and we have to work in that area. Normally the people don't work in security area because it seems difficult. So don't take a simple challenging problem, take a difficult challenging problem and then try to solve it, then you will achieve a good outcome. Okay. So this now we have end up with that part of theoretical or other discussion. I am here just showing an example or case study uh, for of your preventing road accidents. It is also a kind of wearable computer design, but you will not see any wearable computer design. So the concept, how you have to develop a concept, it may be that for going to actual wearable computer to avoid road accidents of this kind, it may take some the 10, 15, 20 PhDs or research in parallel or in sequence like that. Then it will come to some final shape of actual target. So research is very deep, very critical, and very small problems you have to take for doing research in any area. So for road accidents, variable computing for the driver was targeted in this, and some literature review of about more than 1000 papers was done for doing this particular research. And finally, I have brought some points here to this let you know that what kind of research was there in design of wearable computing for the driver, vehicular driver, to avoid accidents. So what is considered especially here is the detecting the mental state of driver, that is fatigue, or rather reflexes, change in reflexes. What is reflex? We say that if you are young, you are child, your reflexes are very sharp. When you are old age, when you are your age is moving ahead, your reflexes are very slow. Means you quickly you are able to identify, quickly you are able to react, your body is able to react, you correctly react. If you like catching the ball, if you are young, you can catch the ball just without looking at it. And if you are older, then as you go older, your reflex goes down, and you miss it, you miss the catching. So you here, so change in reflex level was given the name of drowsiness of the driver, alertness of the driver, or fatigue, mental fatigue. This kind of issue was taken for consideration, and then at some threshold value of fatigue, or you can say drowsiness, or whatever kind the reason may be, so it is because of which the accident may happen. So it needs to be detected, it has to be prevented. That is the objective of this kind. So literature review fetched these three kinds of parameters study: the driver physiological parameters. So whatever kind of physiological parameters like EEG, ECG, EOG, skin conductance, temperature, BP, or respiration rate, or you can say oxygen level, or EEG, or these are different physiological parameters. Then behavioral parameters, driver behavioral parameters, how the driver active, how active is the driver, what is the speed of moving head, moving eyes, opening and closing eyes, blinking, like that. So everything. Then vehicular behavioral. So vehicular, how the vehicle behaves, or whether consistency, means consistency in motion, consistency in speed, consistency it's moving here and there, while, or you can say changing the lane, or that kind of behavior. So behavioral and so it was categorized into three parts: physiological parameters, behavioral parameters, and the vehicular behavioral parameters. And the strengths are the positive points of those research works, and weaknesses are the negative points of those researches. And then leads to gaps. So you have to find out gaps. So physiological parameters used were EEG, ECG, EMG, EOG, and EEG prominently in the research. and few researchers were used using this pulse oximetry signal and respiratory signal. That's all. Skin conductance rarely used, but for other applications like emotions and arousal like that. So other the driver behavioral parameters used were visual cues, eyelid closure, yawning, head nodding, like that. Vehicular behavioral parameters were steering wheel movement, lane departure or speed variation, acceleration, deceleration pattern, and other many solutions were devised with high accuracy and precision. The negative points or weaknesses of the research. So where like although precise and accurate, but problem of implementation with the, because they were not finally led to the actual implementation or the field testing or field trial like that. So either inconvenient or distracting to the drivers. If you ask the driver to wear a the big hat, or you can say the head mount your some cap, uh, including some many sensors, then it will be destructive to the driver. It is not comfortable. So either inconvenient or destructive to the driver while driving, as they have to either be attentive or those systems, or they have to be change their regular pattern of driving. So it is very difficult for anybody to change the behavior, change the adaptability, change the comfortability level. Either too complex or use intrusive physiological sensors. So non-intrusive and intrusive means if you use ECG, EEG, EOG sensors, they need to be they need to have some adhesive, and they need to stick on your skin, either head or any part of the body, so that gives you distracting. Uh, so then EEG, EMG, EOG needed to be mounted on head, face or skull of the driver and are inconvenient and distracting. Skin conductance, oximetry pulse, respiration or heart rate variability or SpO2 have not been used correlated. That was the um, negative outcome. So finally gaps, you have to derive gaps. So careful placement of EEG electrodes on forehead and skull of drivers is needed. Size of the hairs matters distracting to the drivers, because uh, so here this is coming as a gap, means what is required. EEG and EMG and EOG also needs the placement of electrodes on face and neck, distracting and unacceptable. No driver will accept that. On the cheek some sensor is placed and he is supposed to drive. ECG has been used along with other supporting physiological parameters such as EMG, EOG or respiratory or pulse oximetry, but not acceptable. This is also giving rise to some distractions. Skin conductance has been used to correlate emotions or arousal only, but not reflex level, as I said. So no specific system have been designed to correlate fatigue, drowsiness, which reliably indicate the reflex level of vehicular drivers using skin conductance or pulse oximetry, SpO2 and respiratory. That's why this problem has been taken. Means this aspect has been taken, because skin conductance, pulse oximetry, SpO2, respiration parameters are not considered, and the sensors for these can be miniaturized and made in such a way which doesn't need any adhesive, which doesn't need a, and those are there right now. You can see that if you are wearing a smartwatch, there are these sensors embedded in that, and you don't have to, you are not feeling that there are sensors. So different kinds of sensors. In this particular case study, the sensors used were for skin conductance, pulse oximetry, SpO2 and respiration parameter. These the parameters were taken. The data was collected through this equipment, which is a biofrequency signal processing equipment, and real-time data was collected. 4 parametric signals were recorded from vehicular drivers, varying age of 2 states, pre-driving and post-driving data. Pre-driving state has been considered as and when driver takes sufficient sleep and rest and before he starts the drive. Post driving is considered as the, so you have to be specific. You cannot say that pre-driving, post-driving 10, whether driven 10 kilometer, whether driven 50 kilometer, whether driven 500 kilometer continuously or not. So that kind of demarcation or the limitation you have to put. So you have to have some assumption and the limitations and the scope. Signals were recorded for 3 to 5 minutes duration to correlate fatigue state of the driver. Some recordings were carried out while driving also, but as it was risky to collect the data while driving in real time, the signals were recorded just before start of the drive and just after the driver stop. Recording while driving and during hazardous conditions could have been taken on driving simulator, but it was not available at that time. Now the simulators are also available, driving simulators are also available, and but they are with the automobile companies, and you have to have some collaboration with them. You have to take research problem and then do some research there in their but the institutions are not having that kind of. So this is the kind of setup which was there for collecting the data. Now what I am just giving this case study, that how can you proceed for research in any problem of this kind, or because it is the case of your wearable computing issue. So the example is also belonging to that. So visual inspection, this is the, you can say, the 3 to 5 minutes signal which was collected and then which was processed. What kind of processing was done, you will understand later. But the signal is shown here, the for pre-driving and post-driving. There is some difference I am able to observe in the signals. These are for different people, different. So one person, if you see, it is the reds are clubbed together for a different all set of people, and blues are also different, looking different. But what particular parameter I must see that specifically that it is differing at all the times. So it has to be a unique feature which differentiates both the states. It can be a multiple state, 3 state. You can have while driving, you can have pre-driving, you can have post-driving, you can have so different kinds of states can be defined. Even you can have when driven 100 kilometer, when driven 200 kilometer, when driven 300 kilometer, when like that. So different stages. So likewise, you have to see that how much is the. But in simulator, if there are good kind of simulator, it is possible to collect this kind of data also. Initial feature analysis was done on full length, then it was converted to 3 segments, then it was converted to 5 segments, and later on it was converted to 1 second, 2 second samples. So how can you increase the number of or sample size? I am trying to elaborate here that you can, even if you have 10 drivers data, how can you, so 10 drivers means 10, one sensor means 10 rows only, or 10 signals only. Full length signal means it will be 10, 3 segment signal means it will be 30, 5 segment signal is will be 50. If I convert it into seconds, frame into seconds and half second, all that, number of samples will be more, and more in depth analysis is possible. So from that, by doing that, the scattered plots for different features of kind like statistical features, you can say maxima, minima, mode, standard deviation, covariance, these, and they then using some soft computing techniques like MLP and SVM, it was checked, and so initial analysis, here the details are given. Study and analysis, the kind of what kind of your neural networks were used, MLP, GFA, PCA, RBF, then SVM, what kind of architecture was used, single hidden layer processing elements ranging from 2 to 100, or changing from 2 to 100, I must say tail. And then what kind of transfer function, what kind of learning ratio, what kind of data partitioning, different kinds of data partitioning techniques, all those things have been studied. But this is preliminary study. It is not the final study. Preliminary study has been done to this depth. From that, the features, some features were selected and the frame size was reduced, and then feature set 1, feature set 2 of 1 second, feature set 3 of 1 second frame, and these the parameters which were used was skin conductance, pulse oximetry, respiration rate, and SpO2. So maximum, minimum, mean, the standard deviation, coefficient of variance was the one set. Another set was frame energy, mean of frequency spectrum, frequency of signal, standard deviation of frequency spectrum, standard deviation of signal, maximum frequency, their gradient and slope. Like that, 18 features. And in third set was wavelet features. So wavelets gives you good number of features, large number of features, which you have to finally reduce. Also, you have to see which are, by using principal component analysis, you have to reduce the number of features, because which features are giving the unique alignment with your kind of requirements. The methodology used was training and testing using neural networks for feature set 1, for the feature set 2, and 3 it was MLP and SVM again. This is again preliminary study. Then for creating wavelet features also, different mother of wavelets of different order variation and with different level variation also were checked. For what? For different features, this minimum, maximum, standard deviation and all that, and that was for different neural networks. So many large number of feature files were created and they were tested on different kind of mother wavelets like Bartlett, Demeyer, or Dabauchi, or using different wavelets. So final parameters and features set which were selected from all these previous study were best performing feature sets. These performing features like skin conductance, it was feature set 2, 1 second, Dabauchi order 3, level 6 worked good. Then pulse oximetry, Bartlett order 1.1, then level 4, Demeyer level 8, then respiration signal, Dabauchi order 6, Demeyer level 4. So this kind of final selection of features. So you see, for feature analysis, you would say that there would have been some 5 or 10 PhDs done. So you have to do it. Exhaustive feature analysis is required to come to some conclusion. Why have you selected these features only? Why have you selected these signals only? Why have you performed like this only? So all these reasons come into. So this is scatter plot now for the finally selected features, which are now having some kind of distinction in visual way. Maybe visually we are not able to, but because the separation is non-linear between the two, it has to go for your non-linear neural network model or subcomputing model. So this is a representation like skin conductance 1 second feature set. Skin conductance Dabauchi level 6, order 6, level 3 feature set, like that. So this is Bartlett kind of, these are the just samples, scatter plots. Somewhere you are finding very good separation, somewhere you are finding not good separation. Like here, it's not a good separation. Here you are able to get good separation, rather very good separation. Here also very good separation, clear separation in respiration Dabauchi level 6 and order 6 and level 3, and respiration DMA level 4. So this is the process flow diagram of this work. which has used so many concepts like data, skin conductance, pulse oximetry, respiration, then three feature sets with preliminary analysis. Then reflex level classifiers were designed like statistical classifiers, neural classifiers, these two kinds. In for feature set 2, it was gone up to SCMLP and SVM. The next it was POMLP and SVM, and finally it came to SCPO combination. So it can be a single sensor based, it can be a multiple sensor based. So combination of the sensory signals. So SCPO, MLP, SVM, like that. The feature set 3, which was wavelet feature set. So again, two kinds of classifiers. So single classifier, a single sensory signal, MLP, GFF, PCA, SOFM, SVM, and double signal mixing, say SCPO, SOFM, and SVM, then PO, RSP, MLP, SVM, SC. These are the models which perform best, and that's why they are going ahead. And finally, but all mixed together, SCPO, RSP together, MLP, SOFM, SVM could give best. And then it comes the architectural designer, you can say the committee of neural network concept. Committee of neural network concept, you have to, finally models were proposed that there can be a single sensor based individually working sensors for SC which model, for PO which model, for respiration which model, so like that. And their decision of committee, so committee of neural networks concept was used. And then model 2, it was a SCPO combination based performing with SVM, or PORSP with MLP, and SCRSP with SOFM. Model 3, it was with SCPO RSP with SVM, and model 4, combination of model 1, 2, and 3 all together. So very complex and precise architecture was proposed for this wearable computing. And classifier design methodology, we have time, 10-15 minutes will take, and then we'll be having some questionnaires. Otherwise, it is if you go in depth, it is very lengthy. So multi-layer perceptron concept when you self-organizing, some supervisory techniques and non-supervisory techniques were used. Self-organizing feature map, then support vector machine, generalized feed forward, principal component analysis. These are the network models. Laboratory setup, this is not, these days it is very different. So here neural network parameters, most of the time people use MATLAB Simulink neural network model for experimentation or simulation. But these kinds of variabilities is not there. You are not using, the people are not using this kind of variabilities. So you have to check all the possible, because it is said that for neural network concept, even the two hidden layer gives the best classification model. And now we are in the era of deep learning. Now, but the problem with the deep learning and the machine learning models, frameworks which are available, is that the people are not knowing the what is going beyond, what is happening beyond, what is happening on the back end, what is there inside that layer, what is LSTM, how it is working, what is ruler, how it is working. So you have to understand that. Unless you understand that, your critical thinking process will not, or your critical analysis will not be there. Or if you do not do any critical analysis of your results, of your solution, then you will not be leading to a proper solution, a proper justification. So this particular approach gives you that thought process. So you are using changing the hidden layers from 1 to 3. You are changing the processing element in each case 2 to 100 in step up to hidden 8 hidden layer 1, then in step up 5 in hidden layer 2, like that. You can reduce some permutation combination of experimentation by this way. That is the size you are taking is 5 nodes or 2 nodes or 1 node difference. Then transfer function you are changing linear, 10 hyperbolic, linear 10 hyperbolic, sigmoid, linear sigmoid, softmax, bias, exon. Learning algorithms you are changing momentum, conjugate gradient, Levenberg, this quick prop, delta by delta and step. And now there are so many other learning algorithms which have come up. Or you can have your own learning algorithm. Then a momentum constant you are changing, the learning rate you are changing from 0.001 to 1, the number of epochs you are changing, training epochs 5,000, 10,000, like that. So you can have very different variables involved into while designing any system and coming to the conclusion. That is the purpose of showing all of you. The variation in SOFM parameters, like what kind of number of rows, number of columns, the neighborhood shape, what kind of algorithm you have to use, like a square cone and full, or line cone and full, or diamond cone and full, like that. Data partitioning scheme, what kind of scheme you have been used. So this has come also after many experimentation using different combination of data partitioning, and then coming to some conclusion that this is the best possible combination. Classifier design methodology, what are the performance measures? These are the performance measures used here: mean square error, normalized mean square error, average classification accuracy, area under ROC curve. So you have to involve as many performance measures you can. So which parameter can give you the depth of your analysis is not known. So all possible. So predictive, positive, although it's only a two-state problem, classification problem, and the solution also designed for that. You have so many parameters for analyzing. Skin conductance based classifiers. So you see the feature sets so many for skin conductance based classifier with data sets used, the details. So here 1 second forward tag, 1 second feature reverse tag, then DB3 L6 forward tag, reverse tag, all that. So this is the some results here shown with skin conductance based classifier, one hidden layer MLP with PE processing element variation. So our number of nodes variation, you can say. So when the nodes are varied from 0 to 100 one by one, and the performance classification accuracy PCLA and the MAC mean square error, these are shown. There are two important parameters for checking any classifier. So here, if you see, the black one is statistical feature set shown, and another one is the, so it is compared, both are compared, that this the wavelet feature classifier, how does it perform in terms of accuracy, and statistical feature set 2, how does it perform. So here it looks that statistical feature set is performing better than the wavelet double G. In the second one, MAC, it is MAC means it has to be lower side. So consequently, correspondingly, here again statistical feature set is showing lower error, like that. So so skin conductance based classifiers, one hidden layer MLP. If you see so many transfer functions and combination of transfer function and the learning momentum, this 10H mom, 10H CG, 10H LMQ, all that. So combination, win combination, 1 second double G. If you see what is the difference, so here you can see that for different combination you are getting different accuracies. Secondary based classifiers, one hidden layer MLP results, so many things. I'll go now fast. So this is, so network parameters, here you see uh, which particular performance measures are used and what are the network parameters and the MLP classifier 1 second. What is the architecture of that 18.18.2 and 92.14.2 like that? The architecture of MLP has been shown here. That is 18 inputs are there or maximum there 2 outputs are there like that and 18 neurons are processing elements. So skin conductance base again 2 hidden layer classifier performance. So here you can see that PCLA is the actually accuracy, MAC is the error, NMAC is again the normalized one, AR area under ROC, area under ROC convex hull. Then this sensitivity, specificity, predictive normal, predictive fatigue like that. So these are different results from that for different architecture. So MLP classifier architecture is changed here 18, 15, 15, 2 because it is 2 hidden layer. So 15, 15 neuron in the 2 layers, 18 input and 2 output like that. Another one is 92 inputs, 10, 10 hidden layer neurons, 2 output neurons like that. And its results are again here DB3 Dabochi and this statistical feature has been compared, but here Dabochi has led the accuracy is better than better in wavelets rather than the statistical features. Consequently, for MAC is lower. So comparison, if you see here, one is on layer for different combination of transfer function and the learning algorithms. Skill conductance based classifiers. So we are talking about only one parameter right now. So it is too much. If you go for different parameters, this is the kind of representation or visualization of you can say the training patterns of data. So you are able to see that where is the global minimum, where is a local minimum. So global minima, global maxima concept all of you must be knowing, assuming that all of you are the faculty members. I am not going into depth of everything. I am just showing you the concept and it's the way it has been done. So skin conductance based classified 2 hidden layer again, then skin conductance based steps size variation here with some variation it is done. So I am going fast now through so that you can have total overview. Comparative analysis of this one. Similarly, so other single input I am not going in detail right now. So comparison of all which have been done with single input, single sensor, like skin conductance individually, pulse oximeter individually, and respiration individually. What is the performance in terms of accuracy? So 89%, 89%, around 89%, like that in a skin conductance, and then pulse oximetry, what is performance? Respiration, what is performance? That has been shown here. Comparison of optimal performing classifiers, two different sets, and so all the three are compared together here. Likewise, combination of 2 parameters and combination of 3 parameters have been done. So comparison of this that is 2 combinations, SC means skin conductance of this Dabochi order 3 and level 6, and at the same time mixed with pulse oximetry Bartlett 1.1 order level 4. If these 2 signals combine together, features combine together rather, and then they are the best performing classifiers were SOFM 1 hidden layer, SOFM 2 hidden layer, SVM. All the 3 are compared, and SVM is performing better. Similarly, for other 2 combination of the 2, third combination of the 2, then next is combination of all the 3. So when all the 3 feature sets were mixed together, tested on MLP 1 hidden layer, 2 hidden layer, SOFM 1 hidden layer, 2 hidden layer, SVM. So MLP 2 hidden layer is given the best results like that. Compared to analysis of combination of input classifiers. So this is SCPO means 2 signal, PORSP and like that, SCPORSP, all three together. So this is the status. The accuracy has been improved with multiple features mixed together, and compare then combinational parameter comparison and all that. Committee of neural network for concept. So concept of, because when all classifiers working independently, somebody has to supervise that and take the decision. So accordingly, that concept of committee of neural networks was used, and it was checked for all the best performing single input feature sets, and it is here that maximum 89, 82, 88 percent accuracies are there. Then another model, so these different models, as I told you in the midway, there were 4 different models, committee of neural networks. Model 2, performance is 94, 96, 98%, like that. Model 3, it is giving 98.29% accuracy, and then multiple, all together is also another model. So model 1 architecture is proposed like this. This is the architecture of wearable computing system proposed. Model 1 test results. This model was tested. Then this is the best result. Model 2 architecture was proposed. Then model 2 test results. Model 2 test results. Model 3 architecture. There is no need of committee because all the 3 inputs are together in single classifier only. So this is the combination of all 3 together. You can see that single input module, then 2 input modules, all are together working. And model 4 test results. So here is the best one. It is going up to 100%. And optimal classifiers, then comparison, then their analysis, and then all their parameter, noise analysis of that, consistency check of that, PCA analysis of that, and exhaustive work has been done on that statistical classifier with this. So proposed architecture is finally best one among all. So this is the 3 inputs mixed together, which is the model 2, model 3 rather. The proposed architecture is like this finally, and this is the you can say another way of representing architecture of wearable computing system for the driver. So thank you. This is how we could fit